pay up, Mortimer? I've won the bet.
Here, $1.
A wait's okay.
What's up, guys? Spenny. It's all just one big club, and you ain't in it. I don't want to be in this club. But it's a club that's been talked about by, let's say, some of the most powerful women in all of American politics, like John McCain's wife, describing Jeffrey Epstein as someone that everyone in politics knew about. We all knew what he was doing. We loved it. Nobody would stop him.
It hides in plain sight. Epstein was hiding in plain sight. We all knew about him. We all knew what he was doing. But we had no one that was, legal aspect that would go after him. They were afraid of him. For whatever reason, they were afraid of him.
I wonder, why were they afraid of him? Could be because the politicians liked what they saw when they were with Jeffrey Epstein, especially on private jets.
Very fortunate that President Clinton introduced me a lot of business leaders in London because he knew I was coming to the Old Vic. Do you know who I never asked for anything? Was Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't want to be around this guy because I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy? So I will say this.
There were young girls on those flights.
There were young girls on those flights, yeah.
There were young girls on the flight, says Kevin Spacey, Oscar winner, Hollywood legend, who traveled the world with Bill Clinton on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, along with a bunch of other A-list celebrities. What was happening on those flights and in those mansions and on those islands and in those ranches and in those New York mansions? Well, now we're actually starting to see, for the first time ever, a glimpse inside of the secretive mansion that was the chief architectural location for Jeffrey Epstein to spawn his terrorist network. We actually have the photos for the first time ever from the inside, and you're going to be shocked, actually, about what happens next. I just want to establish something that has been made true today. Virginia Roberts, who was the chief whistleblower about Jeffrey Epstein and his predator and pederast network, somebody who worked for Jeffrey Epstein for a long time. She also worked for Donald Trump. She said she never saw Donald Trump do anything wrong. And she said he was nothing but a gentleman to me. Jeffrey Epstein recruited and entrapped Virginia Roberts, actually away from Trump, interestingly, and then traveled the world with her and used her for services to older men and powerful men, including the royal family. You know the story. The royal family has to settle for tens of millions of pounds. Anyway, she writes here in her diary, yeah, of course Jeffrey Epstein had cameras, and of course it was a blackmail operation. I used to be watched by Epstein's hidden cameras, which I've seen myself. The FBI has the archive footage showing me being abused by other men, used as blackmail. This is her own hand in her own writing. The moment that Virginia Roberts was suicided, I knew something big was about to break. And now it has been confirmed by the New York Times, of all places, a look inside of Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan lair. His 7-story townhouse, the sex offender hosted the elite, displayed photos with presidents, and showcased the first edition of Lolita, according to previously unreported photos and letters. So New York Times got their hand on letters and photos from Epstein. Let's go ahead and go through the breakdown here. New York Times dropped bombshell on Epstein mansion and photos. The entrance was lined with dozens of prosthetic eyeballs. A sculpture of a bride dangling from a rope hangs in the atrium. And it gets so much worse. Look at this. What the hell is this? Jeffrey Epstein hangs himself? Some bride hanging herself? Super creepy. The Wall of Power, Epstein's dining room credenza, was a shrine to his connections. Photos with the Pope, Mick Jagger, Fidel Castro, Bill Clinton, President Harvard, Larry Summers, Richard Branson, Steve Bannon, Bill Gates, Trump and Melinda Gates, and the Saudi crown prince, plus a $sign signed by Bill Gates saying, "I was wrong." Remember, Bill Gates is, so you can see here, Hillary Clinton. Here's a photo of Epstein and Hillary Clinton. Here's Fidel Castro right there. You can see Epstein and the Pope. Goodness gracious. Here's a new one. Epstein and Bill Clinton. Look at these guys. Look at these two devils. Look at them. That's the guy who has so much to hide. That's the one. That's the one who they're actually protecting in all of this. You have Richard Branson back here. Here's the Bill Gates photo. Then you have Steve Bannon and Donald Trump. Steve Bannon was filming a documentary with Jeffrey Epstein, I guess, is the way that the official story goes. I look forward to seeing that. It's very strange. I was wrong. Bill Gates with the $1 bill. Remember, Bill Gates' wife, Melinda Gates, says that it was his relationship with Epstein that destroyed their marriage. Here he is with a Saudi crown prince and so on. Goodness gracious. The office had a first edition of Lolita on display in Epstein's wood-paneled office, a taxidermied tiger on the floor, and a green first edition of Vladimir's Lolita. As you know, this is a novel about an adult who repeatedly rapes a 12-year-old, just sitting there on display while he hosted dinners with world leaders. There we go. Here's the taxidermy tiger. Crazy. Here's the camera. There were cameras everywhere. In all these photos, you can see cameras, surveillance cameras mounted above his bed. Photos show cameras clearly visible in the corners of Epstein's bedroom and adjoining room. His massage room was stocked with lubricants and paintings of naked women. This is where he directed teenage girls recruited from middle schools to massage him, according to court records. Steve Bannon filmed hours of interviews here in 2019. Epstein kept Bannon's selfies in multiple rooms. Epstein kept framed Bannon selfies in multiple rooms. That's interesting. What is that about? So here we go. Weird. But there's the cameras, right? Matching. There's obviously the cameras matching the Virginia Roberts letter. Her 2016 birthday letters are insane. Woody Allen wrote, "The dinners reminded me of Dracula's castle where young female vampires would serve the place." A collector of people, Mortimer Zuckerman, suggested a meal ingredient that would enhance Epstein's sexual performance. Noam Chomsky, and so on. Bottom line, it wasn't a mansion. It was a honeypot operation in plain sight. World leaders, tech millionaires, and celebrities all documented visiting convicted pedophiles. Layer, when will Bill Gates have to answer for the dollar bill that he gave to Jeffrey Epstein? Signed, "You were right." Here's Woody Allen and Jeffrey Epstein asking for more answers. There it is. Epstein's lair, filled with cameras, including one above his bed. Incredible new details of his 7-story mansion. Goodness. So this is the article here in the New York Times. This is the sourcing. Where's the rest of the evidence? I mean, if they have all this, where's the rest of the evidence? As a gift for Jeffrey Epstein's 63rd birthday, friends sent letters and tributes to the wealthy financier and convicted sex offender. Several shared a common theme, recounting dinners and gatherings that Mr. Epstein regularly hosted at his palatial townhouse in Manhattan's Upper East Side. Ehud Barak, former Prime Minister of Israel, and his wife noted the great diversity of guests. "There's no limit to your curiosity," they wrote in a message. They compiled with others. "You are like a closed book to many of them, but you know everything about everyone." Media mogul Mort Zuckerman suggested ingredients for a meal that would enhance Jeffrey Epstein's sexual performance, and Woody Allen described it as Dracula's castle with young females serving everyone. Epstein's prized property was no gloomy Transylvania fortress. He spent years turning the 7-story, 21,000 square foot townhouse into a palace where he would flaunt and deepen his connections with rich and powerful. Hints of his dark side lured within. Mr. Epstein's death, federal custody, what happened to his fortune, where did it go, how did he get it in the first place? White House wants to release details. Hopefully that'll happen. We'll see. At least one other MAGA luminary visited the townhouse, Stephen Bannon, former advisor to Trump, online media personality, who said he videotaped hours of interviews in the mansion with Epstein. Framed photos of Mr. Bannon, including mirror selfies snapped by Mr. Epstein, were kept in at least 2 rooms of the mansion. Weird. I mean, Steve's got to release the... I texted Steve about this. You've got to release the If you were filming a documentary with Jeffrey Epstein, release the documentary. Now's the time. The townhouse, a stone's throw from Central Park, was sold to Mr. Epstein by Leslie Wexner, the billionaire owner of L Brands. Epstein renovated and decorated the mansion in his eccentric style. This is also the man who Leslie Wexner just bought Barack Obama's house in Martha's Vineyard. Isn't that interesting? Dozens of famed prosthetic eyeballs lined the entryway, a sculpture of a woman wearing a bridal gown clutching a rope. Crazy. A rotating cast of celebrities, academics, politicians, and businessmen. Sometimes nothing more than a buffet of Chinese takeout, but the events were anything but. Photos show that guests sat in leopard-printed chairs, large rectangular tables. Occasionally, attendees said in interviews, a magician performed. Sometimes a chalkboard was wheeled out so a guest could sketch a diagram or a mathematical formula. Epstein preserved a map of Israel drawn on the chalkboard with Mr. Barak's signature, Ehud Barak, according to the photo reviewed by the New York Times. So where are they reviewing these photos? Who's taking these snapshots? And then here's all the obsession with Lolita, the 1955 novel in which an intellectual develops a sexual obsession with a 12-year-old. Ugh. There you go. And there's the massage room. Hidden video cameras were visible throughout the mansion. Goodness gracious. By 2016, Mr. Epstein's reputation as a sexual predator became increasingly hard to ignore. His social network was shrinking. 3 years later, he would die in a Manhattan jail. And nobody knows what happened. I guess we'll be able to see what happens next. Apparently, Ghislaine Maxwell is giving everything to the feds. So I guess we'll find out. Weird, creepy. Please tell us more. You know? It's your boy Betty. Like, share, and subscribe. The truth is out there. We're going to find it. Here on this channel, lock in for the truth.